Aneralla. Hi, welcome to the COVID-19 Lake Norman and North Mecklenburg briefing call. Today is Monday, April 13th. I hope everyone had a very happy Easter. My name's John Bradford. I'm your briefing call moderator. I'm a small business owner right here in North Mech. I have 2 businesses here, and I'm also a former member of the North Carolina House of Representatives. The purpose of this series of briefing calls is really to bring together healthcare experts, government officials, and business leaders to provide regular COVID-19 briefings to help update, educate, and support the North Mecklenburg region during the outbreak. We are on day 28 of the President's Slow the Spread initiative. It was a 15-day initiative, then it got extended another 30 days. So out of 45 days, we're on day 28. And this just tells you if you're sick, stay home. If you're older, please stay home, stay away from other people. It's for your own good. And there's 2 websites here, cdc.gov and coronavirus.gov as well. We're still under President Trump's announcement that social distancing is required, and that's through the end of the month. And as you can see, there's a graphic here on really, if you take social distancing seriously, how it really can slow the spread. And I think this graphic needs no words to describe that. President Trump is working on an appointed task force. The United States is starting to show perhaps some signs of new cases leveling, which is the reason why they're going to start looking at reopening options. So the name of this task force is called Opening Our Country Task Force, and it's being formed by the president. I believe tomorrow, April 14th, is going to be the announcement of some of the members of that task force. My understanding is it's going to be comprised of doctors, business leaders, some maybe even some mayors and governors. Obviously, it may still be a little early to do that, but the reasoning is we're going to start looking at it, and that's what the president is doing here. So just looking at our options and to try to bring some sense of normalcy, but we still need to be very careful here. If you need some masks, there is we talk about this, Indira Mills. If you wanted some masks, you can go online, shop.indiramills.com. If you want to call the phone number, you can do that right here on your screen, 1-800-334-8605, option 1. I think they prefer the online orders now that the online portal is up and running. Just a reminder, Apple and CDC have a screening tool. You go to apple.com/COVID-19, a screening tool you can use for yourself or anyone else that you think might be impacted. At a glance, the United States cases were, as of yesterday at 4 p.m., there are 525,000 cases, 20,000 deaths. Again, old data. This was from yesterday at 4 p.m. They issue data every day at 4 p.m. So just giving you some numbers there. The FEMA rumor control website, a great website. I continue to check it. Don't be scammed. The Treasury and the IRS know who you are. No one should be calling you, asking you for your information to send you money. There's a new rumor, which I wanted to share with you. The rumor is, do I need to register with FEMA in order to be considered for COVID-19 help from the U.S. Small Business Administration? And the answer is no. If you represent a small business or nonprofit, you can get all the information through the U.S. Small Business Administration website. FEMA is not able to accept any disaster assistance registrations for COVID-19, so FEMA has nothing to do with that. So just wanted to address that rumor since it was something new on their website. We are still under a state of emergency as of March the 10th here in North Carolina. 211 is a great number to call, or there's a hotline here, 1-866-462-3821. The number of deaths, this is hot off the press at 11 a.m., 4,816 cases in North Carolina with 86 deaths. Comparing that to Friday, which was our last briefing call, we had 74 deaths. So we've had 12 new reported deaths since Friday, and 92 counties are impacted. That's up one more county. It was 91 counties back on Friday. And here's a list of all the counties. We only have 8 counties that don't have a reported case as of yet. We are still under, of course, the stay-at-home order through the end of the month. If you need food for your children, you can text Food NC to 877-877. And today starts Executive Order 131, Essential Business Retail Restrictions. Essential retailers are going to limit the number of people in their store, 5 people per 1,000 square feet, or up to 20% of the fire marshal posted occupancy limits. Please be patient. There may be a line to get in, and you would just, when one comes in or one goes out, one will go in. They're going to have 6 feet areas of distance at checkout lines, and some other cleaning measures, etc. So this goes into effect today at 5 p.m. We still need volunteers in North Carolina, so if you're a healthcare a support person or a physician or any type of advanced medical provider, go to this website and register. North Carolina needs you. If you need any unemployment help, here's the website. I know they're overwhelmed. I've seen articles where North Carolina is one of the states that has, I guess, longer waiting lists. Just all I'd say is be patient, and I just want to share this information with you. The website's des.nc.gov. Mecklenburg County data, we do have Pat Cotham on the call, so she'll give you some more information, but the latest count I saw was 951 cases and 12 deaths. The county parks are closed to vehicular traffic. Walk-ins and bicyclists are still allowed. And for solid waste, please do not put any yard waste in your containers. Let's leave your blue containers for real recycled items. Otherwise, the sanitation workers will be taking trash cans unnecessarily, and we want to limit that. There are two economic benefits that's open today. One is called the COVID-19 Small Business Emergency Stabilization Fund. $5 million has been committed, up to 50 employees here in Mecklenburg County. These are loans. These are not grants. They're not forgivable loans. They are loans. That's what they are. And applications are starting today online, first come, first serve. The other loan is called a micro business stabilization fund. That's $1 million of community development block grant funds. Folks in Mint Hill and Charlotte are not eligible, but the other towns and unincorporated areas are, and it's $10,000 loan amounts on a first-come, first-served basis. Applications are also available today online, Monday the 13th, which is today. Here's a heat map. Just so you know, we've got 25 to 39 cases in Huntersville, 13 to 24 cases in Cornelius, and 0 to 12 cases in Davidson. But this heat map is the latest one from the 9th, so it's about 4 or 5 days ago. So these numbers have already changed again, but it's the only data I have to share with you. Last thing before we turn over to our panelists, Visit Lake Norman has a virtual tip jar. Go to visitlakenorman.org/restaurants, and you can tip waiters and waitresses virtually. It's a great idea, great leadership by Visit Lake Norman. It's a great way to help our folks in the hospitality industry, so I hope you'll check that out. Congressman Greg Murphy, not sure if he's with us today, so we'll pause and see if he's here. He's been a regular on our panel. Congressman, are you with us today? Congressman? Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure if he's going to be able to make it, so he'll probably be on our call Wednesday. Thomas Stith is with us every Wednesday from the U.S. Small Business Administration. So now we're going to go to Dr. Jack Faircloth, who's a medical doctor on the ground in Huntersville. Dr. Jack, we'd love to hear some updates from you, sir.
Okay, thanks, John, for leading this. This is very helpful. Yeah, so we just, from the healthcare community, still want to stress the importance of social distancing and to just ask for everyone's patience and compliance. We are in North Carolina and Mecklenburg County still blessed with a tremendous hospital capacity to treat. That applies to all healthcare systems in our area. We still have limits on testing. I mentioned those last week that they have loosened, but we still have no same-day testing in Mecklenburg County. We do have next day with Atrium and several days with Novant Health, but we do ask for people to be patient with the lack of same-day testing. As of today, healthcare still lacks the big three that are needed for our communities to end social distancing. Those big three are the vaccine, which is 12 to 18 months, which is very sped up compared to normal vaccine timelines. The second part of the big three needed is a reliable treatment for everyone. There's many antivirals that are showing promise, but still in the experimental phase. And then the last of the big three is unlimited testing. We've heard a lot about same-day testing, especially from Abbott, but we just don't. Those are just not here yet. So the vaccine, reliable treatment, unlimited testing is not here yet. What comes next for us if they do begin to loosen social distancing and stay-at-home orders? We've learned a lot from the Asian countries that there is a second wave. There's also a third wave, depending on how fast we undo things. So the key will be that everyone realize a very gradual process to relieve our restrictions. We have to be able to track infections, new infections especially. The U.S. data was very promising over the weekend. On Friday, the U.S. New infection rate peaked at 35,100 and has fallen every day since. Yesterday, the U.S. New diagnosis rate was less than 29,000, and that was the first day it had been under 29,000 since April 5th. So this may be the beginning of a flattening of our curve, but if so, we can look at Europe, since they are ahead of us on the timeline, and realize that easing of restrictions will be gradual. We don't expect in Mecklenburg that our gathering in large groups would be any time before late August or later. So we have to just continue to have patience, not only with social distancing, but with our anticipated improvements in healthcare to get out of this stay-at-home state that we're in. And we just thank everyone for adhering as best they can. And thanks for the time.
You bet, Dr. Jack, and we appreciate you. And please send our sincere appreciation to all those you work with on the front line. We can't not do this without you. Now we're going to Mecklenburg County Commissioner Pat Cotham. Commissioner, the microphone's yours.
Oh, thank you. As I mentioned to John earlier, I'm one of those people who hasn't had electricity since around midnight, I believe it was, when it went out. So that's just another little joy that added to my life and tens of thousands of other people in Charlotte. Thank you, John, for giving updates. Those are the latest numbers I have as well. I'm sure we'll get something probably later today on an update of any changes. One thing that that has happened is the Atrium is going to expand their testing some into more vulnerable communities in the African American community with mobile buses and mobile places in at African American churches, which because the numbers have been higher in that area, so they're going to try to and the health department is going to try to work on trying to quiet down those hot spots. So I think that's a positive thing. I sent John earlier today an email that came from our health director where she talked about what the process was when someone, when the health department received notice that someone had tested positive. And I was glad to know that that's really when they really went to work. They contact the individual or the family and ask about if they notified their employer and who was that person. Then someone from public health contacts the business and alerts them that someone was tested positive, and then gives the business information about keeping their remaining employees safe. So I was glad to know that they were going that extra mile to give that information out. I was also, I can't remember if I mentioned it last week, but I was glad to hear that the CDC and the hospitals are going back and checking and calling people who were sick with an unnamed virus. We didn't really know what it was then back in January and in early part of February. And they're trying to identify more about how many people had this before it became so well known, and also if they could eventually work to test the blood of those people and see if there are antibodies that might be keys to more information in helping those who have it now, and also to try to find out if those individuals, if they had it possibly in January or early February, that, could they get it again, or do they have antibodies? So I was glad to see that the CDC and the hospital, the epidemiologists at the hospitals were following up with individuals. The next thing is I'm still hearing from, businesses that, and I've heard from some in North Mecklenburg, I feel like they should be open, but they were told they had to close, and they're trying to build their case. So there's a lot of individuals that are small businesses that are trying to see if the county will, or not just the county, but the emergency operations people will, make some changes and kind of tweak it a little bit. So hopefully there'll be some responses from it seems like the person who's delivering the message is our attorney, Tyrone Wade. Prior to that, we were contacting the county manager, and now she's got a lot on her plate, so she's given it to the attorney to handle. So that's kind of a little bit of a change since last week. And in this conversation, I heard some comments about opening up and relaxing. I haven't heard any words about that, like using or reducing the restrictions. I have not heard anything like that. So I just wanted to, or from the health department. So I just want to let you know that they seem to be focused on staying on course. So anyway, that's my update from Mecklenburg County.
Thank you so much. We hope you get power, Commissioner. We really do. And just for clarity, yeah, thank you. Yeah, and just for clarity, the Commissioner is exactly right. I mean, there has been no easing of any restrictions whatsoever. We still need to remain smart and diligent and practice our social distancing and staying at home. What I had mentioned was this: at a federal level, the President's looking at a task force, which is no more than starting to look at options, but that by no means is relaxing anything right now. So let's keep doing what we're doing, because it seems like it might be working. So thank you.
John,
yes.
John, can I ask you a question? Are there any power outages in North Mecklenburg?
Not that I'm aware of, but I have not been on the website to check. But from the people that I know and who I've interacted with today, those have power. Maybe the mayors, as they give their updates, if they know of any, they can report.
I do want to give an update on, the county commissioners have a liaison with Duke Energy, and I did talk to her this morning, and she indicated that they are, because usually they can get things going pretty quickly, but because of the wind, OSHA won't let them work in those, they call them buckets, high up on the poles that might be broken. And they have to wait till the wind dies down below 39 miles per hour. But right now we still have a lot of wind gusts, and that's slowing Duke Energy down. So I just want to pass that on.
Oh, that's good to know. Well, very good. Thank you. Cornelius Mayor Woody Washam, are you with us today, Woody?
Yes, I am, John. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Happy Monday. Happy Monday to everybody. Easter Monday, I should say. We had a pretty good weekend in Cornelius, I think. As far as our social distancing was concerned, we did have some issues in a few of our parks related to tennis and disc golf. And I think one of the big-time high school players, football players at Huff, tried to have a signing party with whatever university he was going to, and invited a bunch of his friends. So our police department was a little bit busy in administering some of those breakups of those activities going on in some of our parks. I did notice when I was out walking that some of the parking around the county parks on the side streets was getting a little intense. So we'll see how that goes. But I think otherwise it was a pretty good weekend. I do know, and I'm really happy that the governor did increase the social distancing regulations at the grocery stores and the big box stores like Lowe's and Home Depot. And we expect really all of our Cornelius businesses to align with that. But I think that's a necessary direction to go in. The only thing else I'll add is Mayor Aneralla may add to this, but I do know that the mayors and the emergency task group for the county is having some discussions about the extension of the emergency order. It actually expires on the 16th of April. The question will be whether we align it with the state order, which is the end of April, or take it further than that. So lots of discussions going on in regard to that. But as Pat said and others, no restrictions have been lifted, and actually the only one that's gotten a little bit more stringent is the one I just discussed at the state level. So other than that, had a great weekend, and hope everybody did as well. So thank you, John.
Thank you. Hey, Mayor, one question. In the town of Cornelius, are the town parks still open to vehicles?
Yes, they are. And we really hope it can stay that way, because we think it will have the same impact on our side streets if we don't do that. So we're trying hard to get that coordinated. I think in all the 6 towns around Charlotte, the parks remain open for vehicles at this time. But we just hope folks will comply so we can keep it that way.
Absolutely. I agree. Okay. Thank you so much, Mayor, and thanks for joining as always. Now going to Huntersville, Mayor John Aneralla. Mayor, the microphone's yours.
Well, thank you, John, and hopefully everybody had a great holiday. Our excitement here was 12-person FaceTime with family members all across the United States, and learned that my mom's phone is antiquated and she couldn't see anybody, but we'll get her a new phone next time. But one thing, that healthdata.org site that I keep mentioning, interesting that they haven't updated it in a few days, but it did say from a resource standpoint that things were flattening, and that was as of April 7th. So keep monitoring that. In terms of the town's parks that we manage, they're all open and all open for drive-in traffic. So we're going to keep that going as long as we can. Also, as Mayor Washam alluded, on the 16th, the current stay-at-home expires in Mecklenburg County, and I'm supportive of aligning it with the governor's stay-at-home for the end of April, and then reassessing towards the end of the month as things are. We'll see what's going on there. I do also agree with the governor in that, as of 5 o'clock today, there'll be a little more restrictions on the retailers that have been deemed essential. So basically 20% of the people that could be capacity are allowed to be in the facility, or 5 customers per 1,000 square feet. And then some acts of kindness continue for our police and fire and first responders. Somebody or a group of people have gone around and put signs in front of our police station and fire stations, thanking the individuals there, giving food consistently from all the different restaurants. And then my local Kiwanis Club is donating $4,000 to the area food pantries from funds that were allocated for other things that have been canceled. So I'm real proud of our Kiwanis Club, and I know there are other charities that are doing the same thing, kind of emptying out their money market accounts and getting them to the charities that need to provide food and shelter for individuals. So that's all I have, and have a great week, everybody.
Thank you, Mayor, and please express our appreciation to the Kiwanis for doing that. That's a great leadership. Thank you. Now going to the town of Davidson with Town Commissioner Matthew Fort. Commissioner Fort, the microphone's yours.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me. 2 updates is that the Davidson Community Foundation is now open and up and running and ready to accept donations, and is looking to put an action plan together to help the local residents with the impact of COVID-19. And then also Davidson Lifeline is having a virtual meeting tonight from 7 to 8:30 p.m. To try and just get people connected. That is our suicide prevention non-for-profit in the area, and they have a meeting from 7 to 8:30 p.m., a virtual meeting. That's all I have.
Very good. Do you have any contact information for the foundation? Do they go to the Davidson webpage, or do you know?
Yeah. So John, I sent you the email for the contact. It's Ellen Donaldson and Dave Cable. I can get you something formal for that. And then same thing. I sent the email for the link to the Zoom meeting for the Davidson Lifeline event tonight. If you wouldn't mind giving that out, that would be great.
Okay.
And I think that's all I have. Oh, also, no power outages in Davidson as far as I'm aware, but that doesn't mean that there isn't anything that hasn't happened. We got a lot of big trees. So very good. Okay, yeah. So just for the listeners, Ellen Donaldson
Her email is Ellen, E-L-L-E-N, and then G must be her middle initial. G is in Gray, and then Donaldson at gmail.com. So shoot her an email. Her phone number is 973-476-2026 if you have foundation questions. Thank you, Commissioner Fort, for the update, and I hope you had a happy Easter. Thank you.
Thanks.
You bet. For Charlotte Mecklenburg schools, they're out on spring break. That's what this week is. So I'm sure it feels a lot like last week, with the exception of it's officially spring break. And the only thing I got an update here from our board member is that meals are still being delivered this week. So even though it's spring break, the feeding sites are still open this week. So just wanted to pass that along. And now we're going to roll over to Chief Executive Officer Bill Russell, the Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Russell, the microphone's yours.
Thank you, John, and I hope everybody had a great Easter. I know I did. We spent some time with the family and went out and got some honey-baked ham and brought it home and had it with the family, so it was a nice little get-together. The only thing that I have to report is we had a fantastic seminar this past week, Leading Through Crisis, with some John Maxwell 4-part mastermind program that Dan Houston put together. We're going to have 3 successive Dan Houston programs coming up with John Maxwell. You can see information on that on our website at lakenormanchamber.org. This coming Friday at 8:30 is a Focus Friday. We have Elaine Power, our District 1 County Commissioner, who will be on the line sharing some information from the county. And we also hope to have Eileen Joyce with the Small Business Administration and reporting on what are some things going on with small business. We have continued to post information relative to the CARES Act and Families First Act. That information is on our website. So if you're a small business and you want to know what's the most up-to-date current information, we continually update that from the United States Chamber of Commerce and the Small Business Administration to keep the most up-to-date information. You mentioned what Visit Lake Norman had done with the virtual tips, which was outstanding. We want the businesses and the residents in the area to continue to support those restaurants who are open, who can deliver or put together curbside or takeout, and tip these individuals who are working so hard to put these together. You can find a listing of the chamber member restaurants on our website at lakenormanchamber.org. And Visit Lake Norman continues to update information relative to all of the restaurants in Cornelius, Davidson, and Huntersville. That information is both on our website and on their website at visitlakenorman.org. Again, thank everybody for what they're doing and hunkering down. As John has mentioned, I think we see the light at the end of the tunnel here. We should be getting through this, and we are hoping that we can, and to put a nail in this coffin and get past this on April 30th, because we got a number of events going into May that we want to put on, the Women's Conference and other things. So again, thank everybody for everything that they're doing, their support of our local business community. And John, thank you for putting this together.
You bet. Thank you, Bill. Let's see, the Huntersville Chamber, excuse me. Here's their website. We have an open invitation for them to join. So just want to let you know, here's their website. There could be some information there that's helpful to you. You know, I do want to just thank these panelists. I'm the moderator, they're the panelists. U.S. Congressman Greg Murphy, Dr. Jack Faircloth. Every Wednesday, we have the U.S. SBA Director Thomas Stith, Pat Cotham County Commissioner, Cornelius Mayor Woody Washam, Huntersville Mayor John Aneralla, Davidson Commissioner Matthew Fort has started joining some of our calls. CMS board member Rhonda Cheek, she's not on all our calls, but she does provide updates, which is helpful. And then, of course, Bill Russell's been on all of our calls, CEO of the Lake Norman Chamber. And again, this is John Bradford. I'm a former member of the North Carolina House of Representatives, and it's my privilege and honor to be your moderator of these calls. The next call is going to be Wednesday, April 15th, and we are stronger together. There's no doubt about it. Keep your emails coming, lkntogether@gmail.com. I'm also on WSIC Radio now every Friday at 11:15. They're having me on, give some updates as well. But be sure to take care of yourself, take care of each other. Thank you for listening today. This does conclude our briefing today. Thank you.